Hello and welcome to another lawn clippings video by lawnfawn. Today is our introduction to our brand new set called Chevron Backdrops. This is a really great background builder set, and what's really awesome is you get 3 different types of chevrons in this stamp set. So it's really fun to use. So let's go ahead and try some fun things with it. So right here first, I'm going to use the little fine line chevron, and this one's really great for creating bold and subtle patterns depending on what kind of ink you use. Okay, so I've got the little fine line chevron here on our block, and I'm going to go ahead and add some this turquoise blue ink to it. And what's really cool about these backgrounds is you could do really bold, you could do distressy, you could do subtle, you can do all sorts of different kinds of things. You could go rainbow, gradient, all one color, anything you can think of. So right here I'm just going to stamp this out with kind of a bold turquoisey blue color. And when you stamp these, you want to make sure you have even pressure on the outsides and in the middle and on the up and down, because it is a pretty long stamp. So you want to make sure all that ink transfers. So there's our really great chevron. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp that again. Something really cool with these two is you can do generation stamping when you stamp once and then keep stamping without re-inking the stamp, and you get some really cool colors that way. But this time we're just going to go bold with it. So right here I'm just going to line up the stamp set just like that, and then put pressure all around and lift for my really cool chevron pattern. I just love that. And you could continue that all the way down a card or anything you were doing. It could look really cool with this stamp. Something else really awesome about this backdrop set and all of our backdrop sets, so teeny tiny backdrops, schoolhouse backdrops, and chevron backdrops, is they actually are longer than the standard size card. So this card here is 5.5 inches wide by 4.25 tall. I just haven't folded it yet. But you'll see right here that the stamp is actually longer. Actually, it's a little bit hard to see there. Let me grab the next chevron here so you can see that it's actually longer than the standard size card. This means that when you stamp it, you'll actually completely cover your card no matter what. So even if you were a little bit off this way, it's still going to be completely covered. You won't have to trim off the sides or anything like that. So that's something really awesome about our sets that we worked really hard to do, was to get them long like that so they really cover everything, which is awesome. So why don't we go ahead and stamp this one out. What's really fun about this this chevron is it's got the bold and the fine line in it. So it's just a whole different look, which I really like. So I'm just going to pick that up here. I'm using a stamp press, but any block will do. I just happen to like using this stamp press lately. It's pretty fun. So right here, let's go ahead and stamp this one out so you guys can see what it looks like. I like to take, with these big ones, I like to take my ink pad to my stamp, but either way will work. I just happen to like it because I want to make sure that I really cover the whole stamp. And that's a good way to make sure, at least for me, because sometimes I tend to miss some of the stamp. So right here, let's go ahead and stamp this one out. And once again, even pressure all around. And you'll see what a cool look that is. I love it. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have any tags or little die cut shapes like butterflies and hearts and things at home, but something you can do with these backgrounds is to create really kind of cool and kind of update your tag shapes or any other die cuts you have, is by stamping the chevrons out on them. So you can see how cool, and now it looks like I have a whole brand new die cut because it's just such a cool look with the chevrons on it. So you can really kind of add this to different things and do some cool stuff with it. So those are really fun. So there is that middle chevron. I'm going to stamp one more out so you guys can see how it looks. It looks really cool. Okay, so you guys can see here, now the whole background stamped out. It looks really cool. It's really fun, and you can do all sorts of really kind of cool backgrounds with it. One other thing I wanted to show you is the big and bold chevron from this set. This one's really fun for creating kind of rainbow backgrounds or really bold backgrounds, but you can also get kind of subtle with it too, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But for now, let's get really bold with it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and ink up this awesome bold chevron here with this really awesome orange ink. I like this ink a lot. It's just nice and bold and happy. So let's go ahead and stamp this orange out, and you'll see how awesome this looks really bold. Just like this. And this one especially, you got to make sure we put all that pressure all around on this big long stamp. And you can see how cool that looks. It's bold and awesome and really, really fun. And you'll see this ink will, it's a chalk ink, so it'll kind of, as it dries, it kind of blends out, which looks really good. So we have that there. And then another really fun thing that you can do with this is some really fun techniques. So you could do an embossed resist. So you could go ahead and heat emboss this with, you know, with like a clear or a different color. And then you could use your ink blending tool and bring some ink over it. That would look really cool with these fine lines up here too, like with a clear heat embossing powder. Really cool techniques that way. But something kind of fun that you can try is I just got these brand new Distress ink markers. And they're really, really fun, and it's kind of like the Distress ink colors, but in marker form. And so I'm going to go ahead and kind of color in the stamp. Now this technique is definitely not for being perfect. So it's one of those techniques where, you know, it's going to be splotchy and kind of cool looking like that. And that's just part of it. So I think that's kind of fun, actually. Kind of a different look. So what I'm kind of going to go here is like for a watercolor, almost like a sunset-y look. And what I'm doing is I'm just going down into the darker one that I just did and bringing it up with this lighter pink marker. And these markers are cool because they're water-based. And I just got them, so I haven't been able to play with them much. But this is kind of a fun thing that I tried doing with them. So I've got it all inked up. And I'm going to go ahead and spray this with a little spray bottle. And you can spray as much water, as little water as you want. You kind of get different looks depending. And you'll see it's all kind of like blending and getting real messy on there, which I think is really fun. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this cool look out. So I'm just going to put pressure everywhere. And you're going to see it's going to be really splotchy, but really cool looking. Just like that. So I think that looks really awesome. It's really fun, and it'll keep kind of blending together as it dries because it's kind of like a watercolor. I had some fun earlier and did a bunch of different ones with different colors, like an orange and a pink there, and just the pink. And then I stamped this once and then stamped it again to get this really cool faded look. So it kind of looks like when some of these faded photos are really popular, like on Instagram and things like that. You can get some really cool looks with it. So I really like that. One last thing I wanted to show you guys was creating a subtle background with these. And to create subtle backgrounds, the best is to use a really light ink. And one of my favorite light colored inks is the Antique Linen Distress ink. I just love that one. I can never get enough of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the fine lined chevron out here. And this would look really great for just adding some subtle texture to a back of a card, you know, for the kind of the background, just to add a little something, even to an existing pattern paper you have, or just if you just had a solid color cardstock. And what's cool about the Distress ink is, it doesn't stamp perfectly, so you're just trying to get a little texture here, a little pattern. So I'm just going to stamp it across, and you'll see right here how light that is, and it's a really cool texture. So I'm just going to stamp one more time just so you can kind of see how pretty this looks. And so I love that you can really go bold, you can go kind of artsy with these watercolor backgrounds. You can do a lot with these that and really make it your own style, which I think is really great. So right there you can see just kind of getting a really kind of texture there. And it's kind of uneven and really cool. I really like that. So that is Chevron Backdrops. We've got this really fun, bold kind of chevron that you can do, and then you could go and stamp with some Distress ink like we did here and get a really subtle texture to it. You could also do gradients, rainbows, anything you can think of. Then we've got this really awesome kind of bold and fine line chevron, the middle chevron, which is really fun, and you can do some really cool things. You can also decorate tags like we did earlier. We had that little tag with the chevron, which I've managed to lose on my messy desk, but I think you guys remember it. So you can do some really fun things. It's just a different style of chevron. And then right here we've got this really bold, awesome line, which you can get really bold, do really cool rainbows or different things, but you can also do some fun techniques. You can see this is drying here even softer now with distress markers or distress inks or anything you might have on hand, and really make it your own. And here are some more that I did that are super messy, but I think they look really cool depending on which project that you were doing at home. So I love that you can really go from clean and graphic to fun and cute to shabby to distressy to anything that you can think of. So that is Chevron Backdrops. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.